Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 1, chapter number 4, entitled as The Appearance of Sri Narad, and the text number 6. Katham alakshitah paure
Katham alakshitah paure
samprapta kuru jangala
samprata kuru jangala
unmatta mukh jadavat vicharan gacha sahyave. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Translation. How was he, Srila Shukadev, the son of Vyas, recognized by the citizens when he entered the city of Hastinapur, now Delhi, after wandering in the provinces of Kuru and Jangala, appearing like a madman, dumb and retarded? Purport. The present city of Delhi was formerly known as Hastinapur because it was first established by King Hasti. Goswami Shukadev, after leaving the parental home, was roaming like a madman, and therefore it was very difficult for the citizens to recognize him in his exalted position. A sage is not therefore recognized by sight but by hearing. One should approach a sadhu or great sage not to see but to hear him. If one is not prepared to hear the words of sadhu, there is no profit. Shukadeva Goswami was a sadhu who could speak on the transcendental activities of Lord. He did not satisfy the whims of ordinary citizens. He was recognized when he spoke on the subject of the Bhagavatam, and he never attempted jugglery like a magician. Outwardly, he appeared to be retarded, dumb, madman, but in fact, he was the most elevated transcendental personality. Hare Krishna. So, I welcome all of you, each and every one of you, for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class here at ISKCON Goregaon West. So, the topic which we are discussing is actually the appearance of Sri Narada Muni. And within this, right now, the birth of Shukadeva Goswami has been discussed and how he enters into Hastinapur. And when, after 18th chapter, when Parikshit Maharaj gets cursed by Shringi, then at the banks of Ganga, Shukadeva Goswami appears in front of Parikshit Maharaj and gives the transcendental knowledge about Srimad Bhagavatam, which discusses about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Previous to this particular, now in the particular verse, Shukadeva Goswami's characteristic has been mentioned. It is especially, people, they often say that until and unless fool doesn't open his mouth, one never recognizes that he's a fool. And especially whenever two people who are mad, who are not that good people, when they come together, what they speak is about a rubbish thing. But whenever two knowledgeable and wisdom and realized people come together, they discusses about the topics of self-realization. गधे से मिला गधा तो हो गई लातम लात, और पंडित से मिला पंडित तो हो गई बातम बात. So that's why association is very important in our life. What kind of a situation and what kind of people we are actually associating, that's what define how we are going to advance in our devotional service as well as in our materialistic life also. So even materialistic people, they understand what is the actual value of an association, then what to speak of the devotees. Here, Shukadeva Goswami was roaming from place to place like a madman. He just took birth from his mother's womb. He doesn't have anything, not even a copy, and he's roaming in the forest. So naturally, any person who is a grown-up person, actually, like a 16, 17-year-old boy, if he's roaming in the forest, he's roaming in the villages, he's roaming in the nagaras, completely naked, what people will have an impression about that person? He's a madman, pagal manus, baul. In Bengali they say, baul baul hoch sabe, bolch baul kon jana. Very beautiful bhajan. So this is a baul manush. This is a madman. And most of the time, even this happened with Rishabdev. Rishabdev, when he renounced his family life, he was roaming like a naked person all around the Bharatvarsha. People used to consider him to be the madman. So many times people used to throw stone at him. Many times children they used to bully him. वो पीछे लग के करते हुए ढड़ंग धड़ंग ऐसे कुछ तो बजाते हुए. Then they used to chase Rishabdev. Similarly, that happened with Shukadeva Goswami. So, when he entered into Hastinapur, although Hastinapur was, the citizens of Hastinapur were very elevated people, very highly conscious people, except Duryodhan, Dushyasan, and all those kind of people, but they were no more long in Hastinapur. They have been already annihilated by Lord Krishna and the Pandavas. Now, this is the realm and the kingdom of Parikshit Maharaj. But Hastinapur, it's not like just a one small village or a nagari in which one palace is there and few huts and few houses are there. It's a huge, Delhi is a huge, right? From Kurukshetra, the Hastinapur was started till our right now today's NCR part, and everything was covered mostly in Hastinapur kingdom. And it's not only case about Hastinapur kingdom. The Hastinapur was the main capital of total Bharatvarsha. And Bharatvarsha means it's the entire earth. Bharat Khanda is actually what we now consider to be the King Bharat, a kingdom Bharat or a country Bharat. But Bharatvarsha means entire planet, this earth planet. So Hastinapur used to rule the entire planet. So when particularly in capital city of this Hastinapur, Shukadev Goswami entered, people didn't recognize him. Many times we come to know this person, he's a very simple guy. We don't know who is he, how he is. But all of a sudden, when somebody starts introducing that person, he's today's speaker, he's a double PhD, he's a triple PhD, he is the CEO of this company, and he's giving lecture to so many big universities. And oh my God, I was considering him to be such an ordinary person, and he is such a great personality. So until and unless somebody reveals us, or that person himself reveals his identity to us, we will never come to know. Unfortunate situation in this material world is that until and unless somebody doesn't reveal himself or somebody else doesn't impart that particular knowledge into our heart, it's not a case of self-realization that we will come to know what kind of a person and what elevated person is right now in front of me. So that's why having a particular guide for any kind of a knowledge is very much required, whether it is a material knowledge or whether it is a spiritual knowledge. A guide is very important in our life. Just like I give an example, if somebody wants to go from Mumbai to Kurduwadi, anybody have heard of Kurduwadi station? No. Thank you. Then how you will go to Kurduwadi? I have given you a car. In imagination, I have given you a car. Okay. And now I told you, you have to drive from Mumbai city to Kurduwadi. How you are going to drive? Google Baba. Jai Srimad Shri Srimad Google Baba ki jai. Okay. So very simple. In Google Map, we will put Kurduwadi and we will start the navigation, and in that way the road which is shown to us, that way we will go to Kurduwadi. So that GPS system, if in this material world, if we want to go to our destination, a desired destination, we require GPS, global positioning system. So what do you think that to cover up the journey between the material world and spiritual world, to go to that particular destination which is the eternal destination of ours, don't we require any kind of a GPS? That GPS is our guide. That GPS is our spiritual master. That GPS is known as Guru, Guru positioning system. That's why Srila Prabhupada in most of the purports, he gave emphasis on the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master, taking the shelter of bona fide spiritual master, hearing from the bona fide spiritual master. And when Parikshit Maharaj got the curse, such a dangerous curse, yesterday we were discussing, my God, that Shringi was speaking so nasty things towards Maharaj Parikshit, calling him to be the dog, calling him to be the crow, calling him to be the lowest of all dynasty person. Such a small child, but having such kind of a, garbage in his heart, and is speaking about Maharaj Parikshit, because of whose power that Shringi and his father was able to do their sadhana peacefully. So most of the time, the ungrateful attitude, creates havoc in our life. We are so ungrateful that people who introduces us to Krishna consciousness, who gives us a knowledge about Krishna, one who tries to make us advance in devotional service, we often try to defame that person. We often have a differences of opinion with that person, and we are ungrateful towards that person. Mother Earth can bear any kind of a weight except the ungrateful person's weight. So that's why the Bhakti Lata Beach can only sprout in the heart of a grateful person, none other than any kind of a person, especially ungrateful person. Bhakti Lata Beach will never grow. So Shukadeva Goswami, being a bona fide spiritual master, when he entered and Maharaj Parikshit saw that yes, he is a Shukadeva Goswami, all the rishis and munis were there. Asita Devala, Vyasa, Narada Muni, Vyasa, everybody was present, and as soon as Shukadeva Goswami came, they stood up. And Maharaj Parikshit understood, this is not a madman. Of course, Parikshit Maharaj never saw Shukadeva Goswami. But the Hastinapur Vasi, when they saw Shukadeva Goswami, they were considering him to be the madman, a retired, a dumb fellow. But as soon as they started speaking the transcendental subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, they come to know that Shukadeva Goswami is not an ordinary person. Shukadeva Goswami is the most transcendentalist person. And one person who is beyond bodily conception, even after seeing the naked bodies of a women, one who is not getting agitated, what kind of a elevated personality that may be, what kind of a consciousness that person have. And we, being the followers of the same Guru Shishya Parampara, we have to hanker for the same thing. We want to go beyond this bodily conception, we want to go beyond this material conception, and we should strive for, we should hanker for the transcendental consciousness in our heart. So if we pray to such kind of a personalities, Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, Narada Muni, Vyasa Dev, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada, one day with our sincere prayers and sincere efforts, the same position and same consciousness, not exactly position, but the same consciousness will be awarded to us, provided that sincerity of heart and sincerity of prayer should be there. So most of the time in this material world, we try to judge the people, we try to judge the situation just by its external behavior or its external demeanor. And this kind of a judgment often fails. That kind of a judgment is often a wrong judgment. Without understanding who the person is next to me, just by seeing and observing the external of that person, if we try to judge that person, it's a wrong judgment. Don't ever try to judge the book by its cover. Try to see the content of that book. Then and then only we will come to know what exalted position and transcendental position, what kind of a knowledge that book is having, right? So similarly, just by seeing the external situation of a person, if we try to judge that person, we will never come to know the external exalted position of that person. In this material world, we give more emphasis to container, rather than the contained, right? Most often people are not that handsome, they are not that beautiful, but whatever content is there within their heart, it's the most important content. Just like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, if we see the example of, externally is not that handsome person. Isaac Newton is not that kind of a handsome person, or even any kind of a person who you consider to be the very exalted person, very nice person who has done something for humanity. Even I should not say Prabhupada is very transcendental, but externally, if we see, Prabhupada was not handsome personality. Like, of course, his young photo, if you see with the mustache and all, he looks very, a kind of attractive person. But when we saw Srila Prabhupada in his 70s, he's just a weak, old person externally. But what was the content? Just by his one lecture, people started transforming. Their heart got transformed. Their entire life got transformed. From hippies, they became happies. So, more than the container, the content is the most important thing. So, rather than the cover, what is knowledge and what is information is given into that book, that's the most important. Maybe the cover is very beautiful, very wonderful, very attractive, but if it is discussing about the subject matter of sense gratification, how to eat nicely, how to drink nicely, and how to have a sex nicely, what is the use of such kind of a book? But if that book is very simple cover, a black and white cover, but it is discussing about humanity, it is discussing about the love, a transcendental love, a subject matter of spirituality especially, then that book is more important than the thousand attractive covered books, right? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, regarding this also, there is a two verses which discusses about such kind of a books also. So the first verse is Nat Tadvag Visargo Janatag Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abadhavatyapi Namani Anantasya Shon Kitanyat Shunvanti Gayanti Grinanti Bhikshna Sadhava. Any kind of a book which discusses the transcendental subject matter of a supreme personality of Godhead, even if we see it is grammatically not well published, it is grammatically not well composed, but still because it discusses the transcendental pastimes of a supreme personality of Godhead, it is accepted by sadhus, it is uh, heard by the sadhus, and it is spoken by the sadhus, because it purifies the heart of all personalities who are there in this material world. But opposite to that, nayadvachaschitrapadam harer yasho jagat pavitram pragranita karhichit tadvayasam tirthamushamti manasa nayatra hansa nirramanti ushikshaya. Any kind of a book which is very well composed with a very good kind of a cover, but it doesn't discusses about the transcendental subject matter of the Lord, it just a tirtha kshetra or holy dham for crows, and the hansa rupi devotees never take interest in such kind of a books. Similarly, any kind of a person who is a very beautiful, very handsome, very opulent, very aishwarya shali, if he is not a devotee of the Lord, we don't have any kind of a business with that person. It's just a bag of a pus, mucus, stool, urine, bile for all of us. But if a person who is not that much attractive, even if a person not having a good hairstyle, his hairstyle is like a Navi Mumbai airport. So still, if he is a devotee of a supreme personality of Godhead, we have a better business with that person, because by hearing from such person our heart gets transformed. By the association of such person we get all siddhi, especially the siddhi of Krishna prema. Sadhu sanga sarva shastra ka hai, lava matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hai. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very wonderful verse which discusses and which glorifies the association of pure devotee of the Lord. So that the verse says that even if the moment of association with a devotee of the Lord, the fortune of that association cannot be compared with the moksha, even the moksha towards Satyalok. That's what the shloka discusses about. Tulayana pilavenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam. So that's 1.18.13. It's a verse actually. Actually, yesterday also I read this verse while I was preparing for yesterday's Sunday feast lecture. It comes in the 18th chapter, which is about Shringi cursing Parikshit Maharaj. So the moment of association with the devotee of the Lord is more valuable than attainment of a heavenly planet, attainment of a liberation, or even a Swargaloka, Satyaloka, or a Brahmaloka. That is how it is. So we are so fortunate that by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all his associates, we are getting so many devotees and the association of them. Even Maharaj Parikshit was so fortunate that at the last moment of his life, of course, he is the pure devotee of the Lord, but still into that also, Sone pe suhaga we say, right? So Maharaj Parikshit was so fortunate that at the last moment of his life, he got the association of pure devotee, transcendentalist as a Maharaj Parikshit. Not Shukadev Goswami. Not only Shukadev Goswami, he got the association of Narad Muni, he got the association of Vyasadev, Asita, Devala, and all kind of those munis and the sadhus who are the devotees of the Lord. So that's why coming to the sadhu, getting the association of sadhu is very important. But just आए क्या किया, हम जाके दर्शन करके आ गए प्रभु जी उनका हम. And what about hearing from sadhu? नहीं, उतना टाइम नहीं था हमारे पास. There is no use of that. Once His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada took yatra to Vrindavan, and he was giving a discourse. And while speaking, all of a sudden, where that venue was there, where he was speaking, all of a sudden, Shankha blew. That was a temple, and the Shankha blew, Lord's darshan got opened. Maximum of those devotees present there, they just got up and they went to take darshan. And when only Prabhupada was there and few more disciples were there, those were sincere. And all other went for taking darshan. And when they came back, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, so how was your eye exercise? The eye exercise? We went to take the darshan of the Lord. So he said, more than the darshan, the Shravanam is more important. We don't try to see Krishna, we try to hear about Krishna. Try to see Krishna through your ears. What we will see right now in front of us, it's just he said, a stone or a metal. Because we don't have that vision to see Krishna into that vigrahas. Rather than seeing Krishna, we should serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. That's how our devotion should be. Only Srila Prabhupada was present there, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave lot of emphasis on hearing about Krishna rather than taking more darshan. If the darshan is getting opened and discourse is going on, we should hear, not rather we should not go for darshan. Darshan will happen afterward. So that's why that ISKCON temples are also designed in such a way that Shravanam will be undisturbed. So whenever there is a arti going on while having a Bhagavatam class, Pujari doesn't ring the bell. The bell is like a very soft, or many times it's like a mute bell. Actually, why? Krishna Katha should not get disturbed. That's what the ultimate thing is. For a sadhaka stage, Krishna enters through our ears, not through our eyes. यस्या वै शृणुमानायाम कृष्णे परम पुरुषे भक्तिरोत्पद्यते पुंस शोक मोह भयापाय. यस्या वै शृणुमानायाम. After hearing only, Krishna's devotion will get into our heart, and Krishna enters through the ear holes of a devotee. and then he enters into the heart of a devotee to clean that heart. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj gave more emphasis. ये नहीं था चलो मेरा ये बनाना है, क्या बोलते हैं उससे लास्ट में, वो मृत्यु पत्र जो बनाते हैं, वसीहत बनानी है, मैं किसको जन्मे जय को ये दूंगा, इसको ये दूंगा, ये वो दूंगा, नहीं. He was very clear. शाप मिला है, I got the curse, let it be, whatever it happened to Hastinapur, let it happen. I will go and I will hear from the devotees and the sadhus and the brahmanas. And that's how he spent his last 7 days. हमारे लास्ट के 7 days गोवा घूमना बाकी था, ऊटी कुल्लू मनाली घूमना बाकी था, और जाते जाते कहीं वृंदावन में दर्शन कर लिए तो हम हो जाएगा. We have so many plans, but Parikshit Maharaj all of a sudden dropped all the plans and exclusively Krishna Eka Sharanam he did. So that's how in our life we should hanker for that kind of a consciousness, that when there will be a need for me to surrender to Krishna, I will not have any other plan rather than surrendering to Krishna. We should prepare for that last moment of our life when that will be there. I will be completely surrendered towards Krishna. And when that moment will come? No, nobody knows when that last moment will come. How many of you are firm? Parikshit Maharaj knows that after 7 days, I will get my last moment is there. How many of us knows that my last moment on this date? How many of you? No, even I also don't know. So then how we will surrender fully towards Krishna at that last moment if we don't know the moment itself? So that's why every moment we should be fully surrendered towards Krishna. That's what the solution is. That's why Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mama ekam sharanam vraja. And this should be practiced throughout our life. Not at the end. Are Bhagavan bole na anta kalecha mameva smaran muktva kalebram. So at the last moment I will remember Krishna and I will go back home, back to God. Is it so simple to remember Krishna at the moment of? यहाँ पे जाते जाते अगर आपको ठेस लग जाती है, ठीक है, आपका उंगली उसको लग जाता है. How many of you say, "How Krishna"? How many of us says like this? No, उइमा, आइगो, अम्मा, ये सारे वर्ड्स हमारे मुंह से निकलते, परंतु कृष्णा नहीं निकलते. So it's very difficult to remember Krishna. See, Krishna, whenever he gives instructions, na, it feels very simple. Yeah, that's so simple. Aham tvam sarva pabebhyo moksha. I have to just surrender to Krishna. Antakale cha mameva. I have to just surrender to Krishna. Aman mana bhakta. I have just remember Krishna. But when we start following that, we come to know it's not so easy. When somebody says, अरे 11th 12th हो जाएगा तो उसके बाद बल्ले बल्ले है करके, फिर कुछ करना नहीं है, फिर इंजीनियरिंग तो ऐसे मक्खन की तरह होता है. Go once into engineering college, then you will come to know कि कैसा मक्खन की तरह इंजीनियरिंग होता है. मक्खन की तरह सब्जेक्ट फेल होते हैं सारे के सारे. So it's not so easy. Devotional service is very easy. Simultaneously, it's very difficult. Devotional service is so easy that you have to just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But when we start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 10 offenses comes out. So the bhakti is like a दूधारी तलवार. नजर हटे दुर्घटना घटी. You just walk on the sharp blade, but you have to be very conscious. One aparadh, one negligence can cost us our devotional service. There will be a pause for a lifetime. So that's why we have to be very careful while chanting, while hearing, while reading, while dealing with devotees, while doing service. We have to be alert. Just like a mother, when she serves her child, she is very careful. Johnson and Johnson baby powder ही लगाऊंगी because it is more softer than the Pond's powder, or which kind of a nappy pant is good for my child's health. Oh, यहाँ पे rash तो नहीं आ गए, वहाँ पे तो rash नहीं आ गए. She is 24 hours alert. उसने खाना खाया क्या, नहीं खाया क्या. Am I right? So similarly, in our devotional service, we have to be careful because our Bhakti Lata Beach is like that child. If we don't take care of that Bhakti Lata Beach, that child will be malnourished. So every time we have to protect that small bhakti lata bij and that small sprout which is coming out, and that can be nourished by the association of devotees, by hearing from the devotees. For just coming to the temple, "Ah, Prabhu, आपके दर्शन के लिए आए थे." There is no use of such darshan. If you come, you should hear. And when you should hear from sadhu, when you are ready to take his words and you are ready to digest the words of sadhus, then and then only your life and our devotional service will have some good effect. हरे कृष्ण. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. राय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि.